Well, it's looking a little bit like Christmas around here, I'll tell you what. I have a bunch of stuff for my front end on the Corvette. So I realized recently, actually it was a while back, but that a lot of the rubber on this car, pretty much all of the rubber under the car, is dry rotted and falling apart and all that. So I realized this, and then I thought, well, shoot, let's do it. Let's do it. So I got new sway bar links, so those will go in soon. I've got a plethora of these little guys. These are the control arm bushings. I'll be putting a couple of those in the upper control arm on the driver's side probably today. And as you can see, we've got a lot of good stuff. There are ball joints. I got 4 of those. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Upper, 2 uppers, 2 lowers. Interesting how those are mounted. I need to look and see how these are mounted so I can pull them out properly without destroying them. I'm just now realizing these are bolted in apparently, and I've been trying to pull them out without taking out the bolts, so that was dumb. Let's see, we got bushings, rubber bushings and whatnot. This one is, what's that saying? Upper control arm bumper, front, upper control arm bumper. Okay, that's what that is. Upper and lower control arm bushings. This little guy, which is a control arm bumper also. And then I have as well, I got all new tie rod ends, which are elsewhere. They're not right here with this group. I got a new idler arm, which is a good thing to have. I'm just basically replacing all the joints in the steering system. I also bought 2 new these what are these? Strut rods. So got those for the rear. The adjustment kit just came in a couple of days ago. The rest came, and then the adjustment kit came separately. Why? I don't know. You know, that's how it works sometimes. All right, here is one of the, I think that's a drag link. I can't remember what they call these. But anyways, this is one of the tie rods, I guess. Nice and new. Looking good. Really good quality stuff. I marked the inside and the outside and the side. So RO is the right outer joint, and then RI is the right inner joint. And I've done the same for the left side as well. Okay, so now what we are looking at is the upper control arm on the driver's side. You can tell which side one of these is for because there's a longer swoop to the front edge. So this is the front edge. So this swoops a little bit further up and away. Whoosh! So yeah, that's how you can tell. So the other one would be a mirror image of that, of course. And it sits above the wheel about like this. So getting this ball joint out was a bear because they are riveted in, and I will get some footage to include here of the other one before I do any work on it. But you have to use a grinder to grind off the heads of these heavy duty rivets, and you have to grind those off, and then you have to pound them out. I found that putting a wedge between the top plate of the original and this piece of metal really helps a lot, because you can drive it in there and kind of wedge it up. Because when you're if you try to tap those out, I was using a hammer and a heavy duty tap to try to bash those out, but you're going through literally like 3 1/8-inch layers of steel that way. So it really kind of helps to just pound something under there, lift the plate, the top plate up off. And really, once you do that, that plate will come loose, and you can get the ball joint out at that point. There's sort of semi-friction fit right in here, but mostly they're just, riveted on, or in the case of the new ones, they'll be bolted on. Another challenge was getting these guys out of here. So these are the outer piece of what I suspect were the original bushings. I don't believe that any of this except tie rod ends has ever been replaced. Everything looks like it's from the 70s. So anyways, these get press fit in here on either side, and then they should be flush up against this lip right there. So that would be, well, I can't really show you, but the lip on this one rests on there. So when that goes in there, that just gets press fit all the way in there. How I'm going to press fit these in, I'm not quite sure yet. I'll probably just use this ball joint tool that I have. This thing is really great. You can press ball joints in with it. So I'll probably see if I can use it to press these guys in there. And yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But first, before I do any of that, I'm going to wire brush this outside, get it all nice and clean, and then paint it. I like using Rust-Oleum appliance epoxy. It's got a really good quality spray and finish. It's strong stuff. I find that I actually used it on my water pump on the Corvette, and it still looks great. So it gets hot and it doesn't change color or texture or anything like that, so that's nice. Also, I'm going to show you something here, but I have a 1963 Buick 215 all aluminum V8 right there that will be coming up maybe someday. If you want to see me rebuild that and try to get it running, leave a comment below. I love this motor. I got it for a Triumph TR7 that I also own, but I have yet to really start working on it. So I don't know if I will or not, but anyway, that is where things stand right here. And now I'll go outside and get some footage of what's left to do under the driver's side wheel well. Okay, so we're under the driver's side wheel well here. There's the car. Now I have the spindle just sort of hanging. This is the lower ball joint that I'm having kind of a tough time getting out. Actually, just trying to get the spindle off of it has been a pain. We'll continue working on that shortly. And then another problem with it is visible right there. You can see that whoever put that shock absorber in put the bolts in kind of wonky. I suspect that they had to replace the bolts because the threads were probably stripped out inside, down in there. Can't see them. And so they just dropped bolts down through there. But the problem was I've actually straightened the one on the left side there. But both of the bolts were just bent like this one. And those are not going to probably be reusable. Unless I just shear them off at the nut, maybe. I don't know. I don't want to have to do any grinding out here, though. And if you look, I don't know if I can get this or not, but yeah, here you can see that lower control arm bushing is just completely shot. So just getting all this stuff replaced is really important. The springs seem to be fine. They appear to be holding up the front end pretty well, so I'm just gonna pull those all out. I'm putting new shocks in. I got a new pair of Bilsteins coming for the front now, so I'll have Bilsteins all around, which is really nice. Those are great. And then all of this stuff, This is one of those pads I have. This one actually looks like it's in decent shape, but I'll replace it anyway. You know, I've got the new parts. There's no point in just letting them sit around and dry rot in a bag, you know. I have the caliper hanging from a wire, and I've wedged some towel up in here just to keep those from expanding any, but they seem fine, so I'm not going to worry about it. Also, I don't know, I think I did do a video on this already, but I have replaced the power assist stuff here already. I'll have to see if I did do a video. If not, maybe I can do one on that. But I replaced the piston right there. As you can tell, it looks clean and nice and new compared to everything else. And the valve, I think it's a proportioning valve. No, I don't remember what that's called now. But the steering arm comes down, and then it moves this whole assembly left and right. And as it moves, that pin right inside there, it is a valve that allows this to push or pull. So it takes a little bit of adjustment, but it's actually pretty simple and easy to put in there. You just got to make sure that you're careful putting these guys back in, and make sure they don't leak. I had one that I did not tighten tight enough, and it started squirting a little bit of oil out. So that is going to be, that is already nice to have. And here you can see what I was saying about the water pump right there. You can see how pretty it looks still. It's got dust on it, but I also sprayed the pulley there with that appliance epoxy, and everything looks pretty good. I don't know. You can see the Flexolite fans that I've installed with the new red and all that fun stuff. It's kind of a nice view under here. So all of this underside, we're under the fender now, so all of this under here I'm gonna scrub, and then I'm gonna hit that with some black paint, because I don't like greasy, oversprayed blue. And you see how there's blue overspray like on everything under here. So I'm gonna make that look nicer, and I'm gonna paint that. Oh, there's that one. That's the one. That little cone head. Oh yeah, another thing that this is gonna need is I need to pop the bearing cap off and pull this out. I have a new bearing set on the way also. Let's see if you can hear this. Kind of can't really hear it, but what I'm hearing is the sound of dry bearings dropping into place. So I'm pretty sure that when I pull this off of here, I'm going to discover that these front bearings are probably greased and the back bearings are dry as a bone, because you shouldn't hear any sounds that sound like dry bearings dropping into place. And it's not a repeatable sound either, so it's not like, oh, it just happens when you go past this one point. No, it's happening there. It's consistent with the sound of bearings falling into place. Anyways, that is where that is. More to come. Alright, so I've removed the hub, and I do have new bearings coming for this, so I'm gonna take these out and replace them, and I just cleaned off the spindle there. It looks okay. It's got a little bit of kind of polished wear, you know, but I think that'll be fine. Feels good. There's no pits or anything weird. Everything feels all right, so I'm not going to worry about that. Just going to leave that like that. Now I need to focus on a couple of different things. I really need to get this assembly off of that ball joint, and that's not going to be fun or easy. It hasn't been fun, and it's surely not easy. But I will be working on that next. I tell you what, one thing I love about working outside is there's some awesome bird up there chirping away, just singing. So awesome. All right, so this was a little challenging. On the lower control arm ball joint, the lower ball joint, there are two bolts holding it on. They go through these holes under here. This joint goes under here, of course. There we go. I don't know why I have a hard time aiming my phone this close. These bolts go, there's one with the steel kind of a cushion thing that goes through this side, and then one just a regular bolt, this one, that goes through this side, and each of those has nuts. I'm hoping that these come with those, the new ones, but I don't know if they will or not. So one thing that's important is that you don't mushroom the top of this ball joint bolt. I did that and it was really hard to get it down through there, so I just used vice grips and kind of just ground off the top of it with vice grips. Just gripped them on there and just was like grind until it dropped through. So yay, that's done. Next I'm going to pull this cushion off so I have easier access to the bolts inside there. Then I'm going to get that shock absorber out. I hope those come with new bolts. I don't know about that. And then hopefully in a little while I will have the lower control arm off of here. I do have a spring compressor, but I'm really hoping I don't need it. Some cars you don't really need one. This one I have not been able to verify yes or no on that topic, so I'll be able to tell you in a little while. All right, sweet. I'm happy to report that you can actually remove this without having to strap down the spring or do any kind of spring compression. Just want to remember which side goes in the top, etc. So it sits just like that. The end of it sits right there, that piece. As you can see, there's a fair amount of rust on this, and in the cup there. So now all I got to do is take off that big ass bolt right there. Hopefully that won't be a pain in my butt. And then those two bolts on this side here, these two. Now you can really see the nature of that bushing right there. And this one just completely shot. I think that what happened was when this side had a power steering leak, because this little guy was going out, and there was quite a fair amount of power steering fluid all over. So think of that sprayed all over the control arm and all these parts here. So it'll be really nice to have that all cleaned up and looking good. I guess I could have ordered new springs for it. These are probably a bit, I mean, I imagine they're the original ones, so they're probably in need of replacement. And truth be told, I really should probably just order some new ones, but I'm really tight on cash right now. So I mean, I have, except for Patreon support, and you know, I don't have a job, and this is basically going to eat me up, and I will be homeless. No, not really, but I am going to have to move soon because I can't afford to stay here at the amount that I have. So I'm bleeding savings right now and everything. I'm keeping this car though. I have two others. There's a CJ5 behind it right there. You can't see it. And then there's this Triumph TR7 right here that you can't really see either. So those I'll be working on again too soon, and possibly selling both. But I want to keep the CJ. I don't want to lose the CJ. So anyway, let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you about this particular job. Well, when you lower the control arm, make sure you use a jack to do it slowly. Don't let it fling down. Do not remove the any of the parts from the suspension and without having a jack to support underneath here. Really important. Well, that's interesting. Oh, it's hard to pull up. Anyways, more to come. Yippee skippy. Got that out of there. Okay, so these two bolts here, they are, where's my wrench? There. Those are 5/8, all right? So these are 5/8 inch bolts. They go through here, and they bolt up into a plate right up there. On the other side of that, you can kind of see it hanging in there. Then the other bolt, this one, is actually a 7/8. Okay, so, and for the 7/8 though, there is a free bolt hanging. Oops, there's a free bolt hanging right here with a. You need to put a wrench of some sort or another on the top of that. Okay, the place is a mess. First of all, that last piece of video, my camera got full of files, so it shut off right then and there. What I have done since the last time I shot video was I have ordered a new set of springs. So I'm getting rid of these, which I assume are most likely the original springs that were put in the car. I've since learned that the sort of tighter wound end up there is always on the top, and that if you ever cut any of the length of the spring off, you should always cut it at the other end, the bottom. So I'm not going to cut mine, but I did get the GT style, so it will be nice and sort of a smoother, well, better drive for a long road driving. All right, so as you can see, I've polished this rascal up a lot, and it looks pretty rad. I kind of like it just like that. You know, it's too bad it's not stainless steel or something, because the suspension would look really badass if it was just kind of silver like that, wouldn't it? I think that would be really cool. Could do almost like a rat rod type suspension build, you know, just let it be rusty, kind of like this side, I guess. This side is not quite as nice. I used this little guy right here, this wire brush on a drill. That works great for that. I'll probably do a little bit more on this. Also cleaned that that mounting flange bracket bar. Over here we have the lower control arm, which is still pretty dirty. Ugh, it's big. It's a lot bigger than the upper one. Here, let's do a quick comparison. The size you can kind of see. Probably be better to just do them like that. That's about right. The lower ones are definitely larger. The upper ones are only supporting the ball joint right there and the upper part of the spindle, which is here. That's the upper part of the spindle. I still have yet to clean that. And I still have to get that ball joint off of there. So that's the position that sits in, vertically like this. And the lower control arm has a ball joint right there in that hole. These two bolts are for the that triangular bump stop. After looking at this, I see, as you can probably see this, this is designed for the end of the spring to sit right here. Interestingly, there is a drain hole for water to drain out right there. There sure is a lot of rust up in here, and that kind of bothers me. I'm going to try to figure out a way to neutralize that before I put a new spring in there. I don't want to just spray it with paint. You know, I want to actually, like, do something for it, because if water gets in there, it's just going to start. I mean, can you imagine this hole blowing out in your car at some point when you're driving along the highway and that just rusts out and the spring goes blasting out into the dirt or the asphalt or whatever? Oh my God, how scary that would be. The sway bar links connect here, and that goes up to the sway bar, which goes across. I still need to pull these bushings out. Ugh. They are bad, so bad. I mean, that is really bad. That's just dry, flaky, nasty. So gross. So gross. Anyway, at some point I'll figure out how to get that sucker off of there. I'm not sure. It's really being a bear, that's for sure. This shield I want to get off of here. I just have this one bolt on the front, this one, to take off. And then I'm going to remove this and clean it even better. Oh no, I have another bolt right there. Sorry, I lied. Oh no, that one's loose though. See, it's already loose. Anyways, I'm going to paint that sucker. I'm not sure what color. I'm thinking sometimes they're sort of a gold color, but I don't know if that would look stupid or what. So I'm going to go look at some pictures. And that's about it. So I really appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for your support. Those of you who have contributed to my Patreon, thank you so much. That just really helps so much, and it means a lot to me. And I'm going to post a video about that soon, and it'll be a bit more personal than this one that's just looking at car parts and stuff. And I'll be more presentable too, actually. And so I'll post that at some point. But this is the end of part 1 of the 76 Corvette front end suspension rebuild. And we will be back soon with more. Take care.